An unimaginable loss for one Utah family. How a community is helping a family grieve and how the family is honoring a young life.
A mild Monday with dry conditions to start the week, but our next storm is approaching. The timing of this next system and the impacts.
If they start building whatever other thing, it's going to help for everybody.
Things are about to look very different for an area of downtown Salt Lake that has been plagued by crime.
Heart-stopping moments between a child on a bike and a car caught on camera. See what happens next and the warning everyone should hear.
And it's never happened before here in Utah. What biologists hope to learn by catching this ultra-rare predator.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Tonight, an Eagle Mountain family is feeling the love and comfort from their community as they grieve the unexpected loss of their 9-year-old.
Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser is live in studio tonight with more information on the unexpected circumstances of this young boy's death and the legacy that he leaves behind. Emily.
Brian Kelly, 4th grader Logan Gagne went to bed Friday night and never woke up. His family tells me it'll be months before they know what happened, and as they wait for those answers, their faith and their friends are lifting them up during this time.
This is how J.D. Shepard remembers his nephew Logan, a 9-year-old full of energy, spontaneity, and performance.
He just had a ton of energy, always trying to make people laugh.
The 9-year-old went to bed after a fun-filled Friday where he played with his cousin and grandparents, ate his favorite junk food, and FaceTimed his older brother Ryan, who is serving an LDS mission out of state.
Saturday morning, the house kind of starts waking up, and Mom said, where's Logan? And they went to wake him up, and unfortunately he passed early on in the evening.
On Monday, Logan's school, Mountain Trails Elementary, covered the front lawn with orange and blue ribbons in honor of his favorite colors.
I think this strikes a chord with a lot of people. People can understand the horror and the grief of such a tragic circumstance.
He had big dreams, a big personality, and a huge love for BYU football.
He would turn on, just on YouTube, BYU's top 100 plays, and he would watch it on repeat.
This year, he switched from flag football to tackle, determined to one day make the team.
This is in honor of him. Our whole family loves BYU football, but Logan loved it on the next level. So.
Shepard says every time he'll wear BYU gear, he'll feel close to Logan, a bright boy who was larger than life.
We didn't have any warning. There was no signs of any kind of sickness or illness or trauma, but God gave us some special moments. God gave us some really special times with him.
His uncle tells me BYU football has special plans lined up on Thursday to honor Logan at their practice. He also set up a GoFundMe to help cover funeral expenses. You can find the link to that at fox13now.com. Brian Kelly, back to you.
Emily, thank you. Tonight, South Jordan police have a road safety reminder that you need to know after a car and a bicycle crashed into each other.
All right, this video is pretty tough to watch, but just know everyone is okay. So here's the deal. The car rolls past a stop sign. The cyclist doesn't stop either. And they're riding on the wrong side of the street as well, on the sidewalk. Police say the bicyclist is a child. Thankfully, only had some bumps and bruises. Police say, however, this is a really good reminder to always look both ways and teach your children proper bike safety.
Well, turning the weather now with Utah's Weather Authority meteorologist Allison Krogan. Allison, March has been impressive on the storm front. Much different story than the month of February.
Yes, about more than we had for January and February for many locations just so far in this first half of March. So a great start to this month. Beautiful day today, a mild Monday. Thank you so much to Chris for posting this picture of Stansbury Island in our Facebook group. We're going to have more nice weather for you tomorrow ahead of our next changes. So temperatures currently 41 in Provo, 46 for Ogden, 40 for Logan right now, 57 in St. George. We have clear sky here across the state, and our next storm is approaching from the northwest. It's going to move in, bring us a little bit of a cool down, some more chances for some rain and snow. So as you wake up tomorrow morning here in Salt Lake, a really nice start to the day. You'll have partly cloudy sky, temperatures close to 40 degrees first thing tomorrow morning, and then we're into the 50s during the afternoon. We're going to peak close to 60 tomorrow, mostly cloudy sky by the afternoon, and we will see the chance for a few areas of some rain showers for the evening drive. Could see some snow starting in the mountains as well tomorrow afternoon, so mountain passes could become slick at times during the second half of the day tomorrow. But then we're going to end up with much warmer temperatures again for the first half of the weekend, potentially another storm by the end of the weekend. We'll talk more about what you can expect here the next few days coming up in the forecast.
Allison, thank you. Now to the latest on the crisis in Ukraine. Russia was denying tonight that it was asking for help in its war effort from China. Now, this comes as National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan met with top Chinese diplomats in Rome today. The goal, talk the country out of helping Russia. Sources confirming to Fox News that Russia recently asked China for military and economic assistance. Now, China today called for diplomacy while the Kremlin denied the allegation. Over the weekend, Sullivan made it very clear a Russia-China alliance is a problem.
We are communicating directly, privately to Beijing that there will absolutely be consequences for large-scale sanctions, evasion efforts, or support to Russia to backfill them.
Lawmakers want the consequences for China to be bold. Top Chinese officials have yet to come out and condemn Russia. Just last week, China reiterated its commitment to its next-door neighbor. Fox 13 News is teaming up with the Larry H. and Gail Miller Family Foundation for its Driven to Assist donation drive to benefit refugees leaving the Ukraine nation. Now, you can scan that QR code on your screen right now. It'll take you to a site where you can donate. Monetary donations will be matched up to $2 million and will be distributed to trusted organizations assisting those displaced by war. Again, just scan that QR code on your screen or head to our website, fox13now.com.
Meanwhile, many of us right now concerned about the prices at the pump, including rideshare companies. The ride-hailing company Lyft said today it does plan to add an additional fee, all to help drivers pay for gas. Now, Lyft hasn't said exactly how much that surcharge will be, but Uber did announce a similar fee just last week. Lyft's largest competitor's surcharge will be 45 or 55 cents per trip, depending on location. The only exception is New York City, where there is no additional charge. Right now, gas is at the highest price it's ever been. The average cost for a gallon here in Utah is now $4.35. Fox 13 News is trying to help keep tabs on gas prices right in your own neighborhood. Grab your phone, scan the QR code we have on your screen. That will take you to a special page on our website, fox13now.com, showing the current prices that stations are posting in your area.
New tonight at 9, a problem spot in Salt Lake City for crime. The Gateway Inn is now up for sale and is expected to be completely redeveloped in the coming months.
Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph joining us live in studio tonight with how people in the community says this significantly will have an impact on them. Spencer.
Good evening. Now, the list price for the Gateway Inn is $8.3 million for the close to 1.3-acre piece of land along North Temple. And there already are a lot of offers in, with it only being a matter of time before it sells.
This was the Grand Boulevard, is how the city marketed it. And it has not yet come to fruition as that Grand Boulevard.
North Temple in Salt Lake City has long been a hotspot for crime, with the Gateway Inn being one of the epicenters of that problem.
And I recall sitting at this track stop right out here and watching drug deals go down right where we're standing.
Fair Park Community Council Chair Nigel Swaby knows that too well.
It's going to get torn down and redeveloped. It's going to go.
That was 2 years ago. Now with the sale of the property, that's finally happening.
With the Gateway going, we're going to see a lot of the crime that's been happening over here go elsewhere.
Back then, things were bad.
125 police calls right here per month.
Things now
are much better.
Calls for service over here are about 10 per month, which is still a lot for one location, but it's nothing like it was before.
Another person that sees the progress is Alex Serrano, the owner of Love and Tea Coffee.
It has been a challenge, a really good, beautiful challenge for my family, everybody here. It's going to look much better without all these hotels.
Alex's coffee shop will also be a part of the sale. However, they're going to be able to stay open for now.
We expect Love and Tea to stay and up until a building permit is pulled by the new owner.
Even for Serrano, he knows what selling the Gateway Inn will do for the community.
We've been doing our part to clean the most we can to, but at the same time, if they make better all this space, it's going to be better for the community.
And as new buildings start to pop up all over the area, these changes are only beginning for a street once marketed as the gateway to the city.
If they start to building whatever other thing, it's going to help for everybody.
So if we're taking a look at some crime statistics, back here is all the way in October of 2020. You can see the peak. This is in the district that the Gateway Inn is inside of, and all the way down to February of this year. You can see that trend going down. The hope is with the sale of the Gateway Inn, that trend will continue to go in the downward direction. Live in studio, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
It impacts officers' lives, it impacts families' lives, and it impacts the public.
It's being called an epidemic on Utah's highways, one deadly crash after another because of wrong-way drivers. How UDOT and UHP say they're going to try and stop it.
I think the most critical thing people can do right now is wait to water.
From outdoor lawn watering to brushing your teeth, I'll tell you the tough new water restrictions coming.
We will know exactly where it's moving and when.
It's the first time this has happened in Utah history. A wolverine captured in the wild by state biologists. Tonight, what researchers hope to learn.
It's not the big dance they wanted, but we'll hear from Ryan Odom and Mark Pope on the Aggies and Cougars playing in the NIT.
Welcome back, everyone. Utah Governor Spencer Cox will soon be picking a new Utah Supreme Court justice. Fox 13 News has confirmed he is interviewing 7 potential candidates to nominate to the state's top court. It is one of the most impactful things a governor can do. The judicial branch interprets and decides the constitutionality of laws. The Utah Supreme Court often acts as the final stop in court cases in the state.
A coalition of tribal and environmental groups continue to negotiate with the federal government over the fate of the Bears Ears National Monument. A status report filed in a federal court in Washington, D.C. says talks continue about a series of lawsuits over President Trump's decision to shrink Bears Ears and Grand Staircase Escalante national monuments. Now, President Biden undid that, but it hasn't halted the lawsuits. Lawyers for both sides are asking a judge for more time to keep negotiating.
We're just not seeing a significant amount of snowpack to make that difference.
Across Utah, water districts are preparing to enact restrictions in the ongoing drought.
From watering your lawn to brushing your teeth, you'll want to pay attention to some of these new measures being taken.
Sounds like it will affect us all. Fox 13 News reporter Ben Winslow is on the Hill with more.
We had the driest January and February on record.
Reservoirs across the state are about half full. That's 10% lower than this time last year. What it means is trouble in the warmer months ahead. The entire state remains in drought. The good news, Utah is no longer in what's called exceptional drought, the worst conditions there is. But a third of the state is still in extreme drought.
We're having these continued drought conditions and low water supply that we will see more restrictions and potential additional user fees.
The head of Utah's Division of Water Resources says restrictions will vary depending on where you live.
We have time of day watering ordinances that the municipalities enact. Our municipalities are also looking at landscape ordinances. And, we're always promoting conservation, pushing conservation measures.
The Washington County Water Conservancy District says the water picture is a little better there, but people still need to conserve. This year, the district will impose new fees for those who are deemed high water users.
We want people to see that they are among those higher users And, we want them to reach out to the district and see if we can help them reduce their water usage, because it is such a critical resource.
In northern Utah, the Weber Basin Water Conservancy District is preparing to enact some tough new restrictions. The district, which provides water to 5 counties, is already imposing a 60% reduction in outdoor water use, a 40% cut for agriculture.
And then we've got also a 10% restriction on indoor use, which we have never been at those levels before, levels of restrictions. So this is new for us.
The head of the Weber Basin Water Conservancy District says you can do it.
Whether it's shutting the water off, whether they're brushing their teeth or not running the dishwasher quite so often or whatever. I mean, it wouldn't take much to reduce your consumption by 10%.
The district is also enacting other restrictions, including delaying outdoor watering until mid-May and ending it in mid-September. Once a week watering of lawns and gardens, and prohibiting new landscaping because it hogs so much water. They will also have a 3 strikes you're out rule for excessive water users, increasing fines before outdoor water use is shut off. Utahns were great at conserving water last year. This year, state water managers hope to keep it up.
I think the most critical thing people can do right now is wait to water.
Now, the Utah State Legislature actually approved incentives to get you to ditch non-essential grasses in favor of drought-friendly landscaping. Utah is the first in the nation to enact a statewide Flip Your Strip program. Contact your local water conservancy district to find out how you can get in on it. On the Hill, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Time is 9:20 on a Monday night, and it was a magnificent Monday. Now, we had that sunlight after the workday ended, that sunset about 7:30 tonight, and will rise tomorrow around 7:40, and we're going to have more warm temperatures for you tomorrow. If you didn't get a chance to enjoy it today, 42 degrees currently here in Salt Lake City. Feels like 39 right now. Top weather headlines for you on this Monday evening. Tomorrow, a warm Tuesday with a light breeze. Another storm tomorrow night. Mountains mainly looking at about 2 to 5 inches of snow with some locally higher amounts certainly possible. Slick at times. And then another storm will be possible on Sunday. So we've got some active weather. It's just nothing's going to be too significant here over the next few days. But I guess something is better than nothing. So right now, a few clouds across the northern third of the state. Our next storm is approaching from the Pacific Northwest. And what we're going to be tracking for you tomorrow is going to be a nice day. But for tonight, 36 degrees here in Salt Lake. Partly cloudy. We'll see increasing clouds throughout the day tomorrow. And those temperatures will be warming up. So first thing tomorrow morning, looking at Tuesday at 6 a.m., so about an hour and a half before that sun rises tomorrow morning. It'll be around 30 degrees for Price, Provo, Eagle Mountain. Closer to about 35 to 40 for Twilla, Salt Lake, and Ogden. For the Cache Valley, in the 20s tomorrow morning. Low 20s for Evanston, low 20s for Park City. Upper 20s for Vernal, 31 for Moab, and for St. George tomorrow morning. 43 degrees. Tomorrow here in Salt Lake, our temperatures will be in the 30s when you first wake up. Late morning, mid-40s if you wanted to go for a walk with the dog tomorrow afternoon. Some very nice temperatures for you and increasing clouds. So by 2 o'clock tomorrow, 56 degrees here in Salt Lake City. Very close to average temperatures tomorrow. And then our next storm is approaching. That front arrives late afternoon tomorrow. So by 4 o'clock, we'll start seeing some chances for some rain to move in. So we very well could have some slick roads for the evening drive. 55 in Ogden at that time, 58 in Salt Lake at 4 p.m., 55 just about for Provo and Eagle Mountain, and for Twilla, upper 50s tomorrow afternoon. St. George, you're keeping it sunny throughout the afternoon with 73 degrees by tomorrow afternoon. Here in Salt Lake City, our chance for precipitation is going to start going up during the evening hours tomorrow. So tomorrow, widely scattered chances here in Salt Lake. Then by tomorrow night, widespread to likely chances for precipitation. Then by Wednesday day, scattered, will dry out, will warm up again with high pressure rebuilding, and then we'll see some additional chances for some precipitation as we head into the later half of the weekend. So first half of the weekend will be nice again. By Sunday, we could have a stormy end as well. So we're going to keep our eye on that for you. But for St. George, 70s through Wednesday, upper 60s on Thursday. Cooler by Sunday by about 20 degrees. And for the Wasatch Front, about 50 degrees by Wednesday, a chance for some early rain. Thursday, 50 degrees. 64 for Saturday. Cooler by Sunday by about 15 to 20 degrees with some more chances for rain and snow. Let's talk about snow levels, all that good stuff coming up in your Super 7-day forecast.
See you then, Allison. Thanks. Still ahead, will we need a 4th COVID shot in the future? what leaders at Pfizer are saying tonight.
Plus, new tips on how to keep your kids safe from virtual reality predators. This after a Utah teen met her suspected kidnapper on the Oculus platform last week. We'll be right back.
We are seeing new cases of COVID-19 in Utah decline once again today. 353 people tested positive over the past 3 days. And for the first time since June, there are fewer than 200 COVID patients right now in Utah hospitals. Only one Utahn died from COVID over the weekend. However, the Utah Department of Health added 5 others to the COVID death toll who had died prior to a month ago.
Checking in on vaccinations, a little over 4,600 Utahns got a COVID shot over the past 3 days. Many of us may need to roll up our sleeves again, too. Pfizer says people might need a 4th COVID shot to help fend off another wave of COVID-19. The company's CEO said 3 shots are good enough to protect us from hospitalizations and deaths, but another booster will help better protect against infections altogether. Pfizer also says its COVID-19 treatment could be available for most children before they head back to school this fall, and vaccinations for kids under 5 could be available in May.
4 wrong-way crashes in one weekend.
But we want to put together a group that talks about this specific issue.
Tonight, the solutions that could save lives.
Utah has America's 2nd biggest reservoir and the biggest saltwater lake in the Western Hemisphere. They each face critical, similar problems with very different consequences.
A man is in custody after police say he used an axe to steal from a Salt Lake City store.
Jazz hosting the defending NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks. We'll have the highlights coming up in sports.
Welcome back to Fox 13 News at 9:30. UHP and UDOT looking for solutions after wrong-way crashes claimed the lives of 3 people this weekend alone. On Saturday morning, 29-year-old Connor Van Skyhawk of Salt Lake was driving southbound on I-15 in the northbound lanes near 600 South in Salt Lake County when he hit 59-year-old Martin Salazar of Taylorsville. Both men were killed.
And Brian, there's more. That night, a driver going south in the northbound lanes of Mountain View Corridor was killed when he hit another vehicle. Then another crash that evening when a driver on Highway 6 attempted to get onto I-15 in Utah County. Then another last night at 3300 South West Temple in Salt Lake City.
Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold spoke with both agencies about what can be done.
Utah Highway Patrol is calling this an epidemic. 4 wrong-way crashes over the weekend, leaving 3 people dead.
It impacts officers' lives, it impacts families' lives, and it impacts the public.
Utah Highway Patrol shared numbers over the past 4 years when it comes to wrong-way crashes. In 2020, there were 340 of these kinds of incidents where 25 people died. Year to date in 2022, Major Jeff Nyber with UHP says 7 people have died in the 43 wrong-way accidents across the state. Major Nyber says they're also seeing an increase in the calls they are getting about wrong-way drivers. He says this year there have been 58 occurrences of a vehicle going the wrong way, which is a 49% increase from the same time last year.
But the bad part is the vast majority of the drivers that cause wrong-way fatal crashes are intoxicated, either on alcohol and or drugs, and they're significantly intoxicated. They don't know which direction they're going.
Both UHP and UDOT have worked to prevent these kinds of crashes from happening. John Gleason with UDOT says they have wrong-way and do not enter signage posted on every freeway exit ramp. He says several years ago, they also began investing in wrong-way driver technology.
We have approximately 35 wrong-way driver detection cameras throughout the state that are working to find wrong-way drivers.
Gleason says once that happens, notifications come into their traffic center and all the operators are notified. He says messaging is sent out to let people know of a wrong-way driver, and Highway Patrol and law enforcement are alerted right away.
The unfortunate reality is that a lot of times these crashes happen very fast and there's not a lot of reaction time.
Which is why both UHP and UDOT say they are looking to put together a task force and a strategic 5-year plan of where they want to be on reducing wrong-way crashes.
But we want to put together a group that talks about this specific issue. And hopefully we can track these a little bit better.
I did ask Gleason if he looks at what other states are doing to cut down on wrong-way crashes, and he tells me they always share ideas with other states in hopes of finding potential solutions to cut down on these kinds of incidents as technology evolves. In West Valley City, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, the FBI says charges are still pending against Chris Evans. He's the man accused of kidnapping a 13-year-old girl from Roosevelt. Investigators say the teen used the virtual reality platform Oculus to communicate with the 25-year-old prior to being taken. She was found a few days later with Evans in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Roosevelt police say this is one of the nation's first instances of a kidnapping case involving Oculus. The FBI is handling the investigation. And as this case is so unique, it could, however, potentially, unfortunately, become more common. Fox 13 News reached out to the Utah Attorney General's Office Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Michelle Bush-Upwall, an education specialist, says VR, like other social media platforms, all can be very dangerous. And VR is just a new way for predators to gain access to our children.
So number one is the conversations. Number two, privacy settings. Those are our two best bets as far as safety precautions. Nothing is 100% guaranteed, and we know that. But like you said, you don't want to put a wall up with your kids. And so having, forceful, kind of aggressive conversations isn't good, as well as threats.
Bush-Upwall says having open lines of communication with your children is so important. So they have you to come to when and if they encounter something uncomfortable or inappropriate online.
A Salt Lake City man is in custody accused of attempting to steal from a grocery store using an axe. Witnesses tell Fox 13 News that 36-year-old William Montero broke into the Smith store on 4th South through the garden center and began taking multiple items. He also took an axe while there. When a store employee confronted him, he took off. As officers chased him down, police say he turned over and raised the axe over his head, threatening them.
Because of his non-compliance, our officers deployed a taser, which then they were able to safely and effectively take Mr. Montero into custody.
Fortunately, no one was injured. Montero is currently being held without bail inside of the Salt Lake County Jail. Utah will now get to learn about an elusive animal that's been quite the mystery to wildlife experts in our state for decades.
It's been a while, not so much anymore, though. Fox 13 News reporter Eliana Sheriff tells us how a wolverine was finally captured and collared in Utah.
Listen to the sounds from this wolverine. He's the first to ever be captured in the state of Utah.
They're a small animal, but they have the ability to take down animals much bigger than they are.
He's estimated to be about 3 to 4 years old, 28 pounds, and about 4 feet long. The wolverine was spotted last Thursday in Rich County during livestock protection air patrols by USDA Wildlife.
And as they flew along, they looked down and they saw an animal feeding on a dead sheep. So they got down there, they zoomed down a little closer, and it was a wolverine.
And look at this map. This is where wildlife experts went to set up a trap after discovering the wolverine had gotten into a herd of sheep, killing or wounding 18 of them. The next day, the wolverine took the bait. The sheep herder noticed the door of one of the traps was shut.
So he went up and he looked in there, and there was the wolverine. It had finally come into that trap, and the door had shut behind it, so we had it.
They then transported the wolverine to the Ogden office, sedated him, and gave him a physical exam.
So now, with that collar on it, we will know exactly where it's moving and when. When during different times of the year is it moving, and how far does it go when it moves?
Since 1979, there have now only been 8 confirmed sightings in Utah. Part of that could be because we're at the extreme south end of their range in the U.S.
There were actually 4 confirmed wolverine sightings last year, so having a collar on this wolverine might help experts answer questions like, were those 4 sightings in fact the same animal?
With a home range of 350 miles, it's possible, but moving forward with the collar, biologists hope to learn more about the fierce and secretive wolverine.
To be able to study an animal that we've wanted to know about for a long time, but that's so difficult to ever capture and ever get a GPS collar on so you can track it. It's really cool. to have been able in some small way to have been a part of that.
In Ogden, Eliana Sheriff, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A fascinating animal. The wolverine has since been released on the north slope of the Uinta Mountains. 2 of the sightings last year were in Davis County. One was spotted running across parts of the Great Salt Lake near Antelope Island in May. The next sighting happened in July when a pair of bike riders came across the animal along the Denver and Rio Grande Western Rail Trail in Layton. It's unknown if these 2 sightings were the same wolverine.
Definitely rare. Coming up, a major ski resort owner hikes its minimum wage, what workers will make next season, and why the change.
And we had such a great start to this week. Nice, comfortable temperatures, clear sky this evening, and a storm is on the way. The timing and the impacts on you coming up.
A federal judge in New York has delayed the upcoming trial of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star Jen Shaw. Court records show the trial was now moved to July. Shaw is facing fraud charges. She's accused in a multi-million-dollar telemarketing fraud scheme. Shaw has pleaded not guilty. Her assistant, Stuart Smith, struck a plea deal with prosecutors.
The owner of Park City Mountain Resort says it will boost its minimum wage to $20 per hour this fall. Vail Resorts says the minimum hourly boost from $15 to $20 is an attempt to increase staffing and, quote, deliver a better employee experience. The increase in cost will actually cost the company $175 million, just a fraction of their total profits that they made this quarter.
They're sure making a lot of money.
Yes, they are. A clouded leopard at the Loveland Living Planet Aquarium in Draper turns 8 years old today.
That's right. The aquarium held a celebration where the leopard named Rue got to enjoy this specially made cake. Looks like colored ice there. Very pretty. She shares her birthday with renowned physicist.
Look at those eyes. They're adorable.
I just think the coat, look at that.
Yeah.
Just beautiful. So Rue shares her birthday with the renowned physicist Albert Einstein.
You may have heard of him.
Yeah, was thus named Rue, which is short for rhubarb, which is Einstein's favorite pie. And today is March 14th, 3/14, which is Pi Day, 3.14. There's a big correlation.
How far can you go?
there.
I stop at 3.14.
To make it easy, of course, for lack of time.
159, ... Yes. Hey, still ahead, where do Lake Powell and the Great Salt Lake stand tonight in the midst of our mega drought? Fox 13 News takes an in-depth look. Jeff?
Coming up in sports, we'll hear from the BYU and Utah State basketball coach on their thoughts of playing in the NIT. And Giannis Antetokounmpo's in town with the Bucks. We'll have the highlights against the Jazz coming up.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us for Fox 13 News at 9. Thank you to Brian Schnee for stepping in while Bob Evans is off for a few days. Utah's Weather Authority Allison Krogan will have your weather forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Gorgeous day today.
Great day today. There's going to be a change, though, so we'll tune in for that in just a few minutes with Allison. So Utah's 2 most iconic bodies of water help tell the story of the West's mega drought right now.
They sure do. Going in depth, Fox 13 News anchor Max Roth looks at the water in Lake Powell along with the Great Salt Lake.
So I'm just over 6 feet tall, and the Great Salt Lake is 6 feet lower right now than it normally is.
Just 6 feet lower has left the lake at 56% of its normal size, meaning 750 square miles of lake bed uncovered. The pictures tell the story. A Google satellite image from 2022. Now fade that into one of the maps in our old textbooks. And look to the lake north of Ogden, around Willard Bay in a 2022 image, and fade it to the textbook map. Same thing with Farmington Bay, the shoreline defining most Utahns' experience of the lake and its impact on us. See, to the right of Antelope Island, you have the Jordan River Channel flowing across an empty expanse of lake bed. The old textbook shows us the ideal picture. Aside from its iconic status, the Great Salt Lake is a weather maker and a pollution capper. The Middle Wasatch Mountains rely on the boost of lake effect snowfall, and Wasatch Front residents would rather not have a giant source of wind-blown dust next door. Utah's other iconic lake doesn't make weather. Lake Powell generates power and stores water. To get a sense of the challenge at Lake Powell, think of the old water jug you take to a softball game. The jug has a spigot near the bottom to access the water. Water has weight, and gravity pushes it down and out of any available release point. The more water, the more weight, the stronger flow out of that spigot. It doesn't have to be full to work, though. The goal to stay safe this year in Lake Powell was to stay at above 3,525 feet in elevation. That's the minimum target. Lake Powell is just 0.2 of an inch above that right now. The first definite consequence happens when it sinks below 3,490 feet. After that, the dam won't generate reliable power. That's called the minimum power pool. And see that spigot? It's not exactly at the bottom. To manage water, the level must be above the spigot. In a reservoir, that's called the dead pool. Below 3,370 feet, the dam itself is useless.
Water managers have some options. They can limit water downstream, and they can release water from dams upstream, like Flaming Gorge. But filling a gigantic lake with water from smaller lakes is a limited and short-term measure. In studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, speaking of water, we do have some storms in the forecast, so some good news there, and a gorgeous sunset tonight. Thank you so much to Eric for posting this picture in our new Facebook group. It's called the Utah's Weather Authority. If you haven't joined yet, we would love to have you. And also, you may have noticed that I'm wearing purple along with my co-anchors tonight, and it's all to encourage girls and women to get into STEM, and I'm very proud to report that back in 1970, only 8% of STEM workers were women, and now we're up to 27% today. And if you have kids who are interested in science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, there's 5 simple steps that you can do from Microsoft and their research. Provide role models, so love being a female meteorologist, let them know that they can get into science if they're interested. Generate excitement, provide a hands-on experience, provide encouragement, and encourage a growth mindset. A lot of you reach out saying your kids love science, what can you do, and just letting them know that it's a possibility and encouraging and fostering that, letting them know that they can be anything they want to be is just so important. So thank you so much for always the great feedback, and we are tracking some storms here, so I've got great news as far as the weather forecast over the next few days. For tonight, comfortable temperatures when you wake up tomorrow morning. By 7 a.m., we're going to have additional clouds streaming into northern Utah. Temperatures will be about 35 to 40 for Ogden, Salt Lake, Provo, and Tooele. We look at tomorrow afternoon, and that's when we start seeing some rain filling in here across northwest Utah. But our temperatures are going to be close to 55 to 60 for much of the Wasatch Front. So I would grab the umbrella or the rain jacket first thing tomorrow morning, especially if you're going to be gone all day, heading out to the office or running errands, picking the kids up from school. Possibility, especially up towards Ogden, of seeing some rain showers on the way home. But for southern Utah, you're going to be staying pretty dry the next few days. 75 tomorrow, 71 on Wednesday. By Thursday and Friday, you're back close to 70 to 75 still, and then much cooler by Sunday. Here in Salt Lake City, 59 tomorrow with mostly cloudy sky heading into the afternoon. Let me show you this futurecast because we start seeing this rain filling in tonight into, tomorrow afternoon into Wednesday. Could still see a few lingering showers into Wednesday evening. So how much snow are we talking about out of this system? Because we're tracking mainly valley rain and mountain snowfall. Mountains about 2 to 5 inches of snow, could see some locally higher amounts, and snow levels will be starting about 7,500 feet, dropping down to about 5,500 feet. By Thursday, Friday, we're warming back up into the mid-60s by Saturday with mostly cloudy skies. So first half of the weekend will be warm, and then we're going to see some potential for storms to develop again by next Sunday. Sunday, 47, so a really big cool down, and then by next Monday, 44 degrees in Salt Lake City. And we look at our precipitation outlook through the end of March, and that keeps us rather dry. So at least we have a little bit of active weather Tuesday night into Wednesday, and then again by Sunday. But besides that, we're probably going to be drying out in week 2.
The Utah Jazz hosting the defending NBA champions tonight, the Milwaukee Bucks. A tough start of a stretch for the Utah Jazz. 3 straight games at home against playoff teams in the Bucks, Chicago Bulls, and LA Clippers, followed by a 6-game road trip. Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks making their one and only appearance in Salt Lake City during the regular season. Jazz did get Rudy Gobert back after he sat out the last game. Here's the Greek Freak going one-on-one with Gobert. That's a great matchup. Giannis got the friendly bounce on that one. Other end, the Jazz go inside. Mike Conley to Rudy Gobert. The big guy lays it in for two. Jazz shot the ball well from three-point range in the first quarter. Royce O'Neal, a deep three. Nothing but net on that one. And Donovan Mitchell gets it to Daniel House Jr. This spot-up three is good, but he left the game in the first half, a quarter, with an injury. How about this from Mitchell? Works his way through the defense, then the assist. Gets it to Mike Conley. His money is three. Nice assist by Mitchell. Back to Antetokounmpo. Boy, he's tough to stop this close to the rim with the jam inside. The Jazz made 10 threes in the first quarter. Here's Mitchell with one of them. Then he scores inside, working it back into the paint, little Euro step, and lays it in off the glass. The Jazz trailed by 9 at the half, but the Jazz lead it by 10 late in the third quarter, outscoring the Bucks 30-11 in the third. Well, BYU and Utah State both missed out on the NCAA tournament, but they're both in the NIT. The Aggies will host Oregon on Tuesday. The Cougars will host Long Beach State on Wednesday.
Really excited. The players are thrilled, to continue the season. You look at the tournament and the field, that's in it. There's some really good teams, throughout the bracket. We feel really fortunate to be able to play another game in the Spectrum.
You get a chance to go compete, right? And see if you can win more games and win a championship, right? So anytime you have the opportunity to do that, it's pretty special. Anytime you get a chance to compete in the postseason.
On the PGA Tour, final round of the Players' Championship, Cameron Smith had a two-shot lead on the 16th. Instead of taking it safe and aiming for the middle of the green, fired it right at the stick. Great shot by the Australian. He rolled in the putt, and he needed it. He won by only one shot at 13 under par to win the $3.6 million first place prize.
Nice payday. Big purse.
Payday. You know how many people in college basketball get to end with a win? Aggies and Cougars both do.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it.
That's not bad. I'm intrigued by that matchup downtown right now, too.
Yeah,
Jazz
fourth quarter, getting ready for it, Jazz.
Did you say Donovan Mitchell 10 three-pointers in the first quarter?
The Jazz team.
Oh, the Jazz team.
They only
I was like, Brian.
Still a lot of triples. Still a lot of triples.
One in the second quarter.
Well, balances out.
Yeah, right?
Team effort. Yeah. Thanks, Jeb.
We'll be right back. Thanks for watching Fox 13 News at 9.
Stick around. Quickcast is next.